Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So we're excited because we just had a package arrive and we wanted to share with you because it has to do with our lotus pond that we're putting in. So as you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful June 3rd day here in Maryland. And we got a afternoon thunderstorm that's decided to come in and share with us. But we don't mind because it waters our plants for us and saves us the time and energy. So anyway, getting back to what we have, this is what's going to be our ground cover. And so we decided to go with what's called a blue star creeper, or the scientific name, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, an Isotoma fluviatilis. And so if you're Google searching for blue star creeper or Isotoma fluviatilis, you'll be able to see really what this looks like when it gets established. So just some background on this. We decided to go with the blue star creeper just because it grows very well in our particular growing zone. It's actually a very sturdy plant, has a wide range of planting zones that it'll thrive in, from pretty extreme colds to fairly extreme warm. It's also very good at controlling weeds, keeping weeds and unwanted plants down. It spreads on its own to where it'll fill in like very small cracks in between rocks, which is where this is going to go on our flagstone walk path. And it's also does with foot traffic very well. So if you walk on it, you're not going to damage or really kill the plant because it's a very sturdy plant. And then additionally, we like it because it has a very beautiful kind of a blue star-shaped flower when it's flowering, and it comes back and spreads on its own. So once you plant it, it'll just slowly fill in all of the other gaps. From what we saw, it flowers in spring and then continues to flower through fall, and then goes dormant in the wintertime, but then comes right back the next spring and continues to go out. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and open it up. Just want to get it out of this box, because even though we probably won't be planting it today, at least it won't be stuffed inside the box. So this came with the planting instructions, and so it's just going to tell you exactly, how to go about planting it. It's going to give you also the instructions for additional plant care, monitoring water needs, etc., etc. It looks like it's got a couple of diagrams here for you even. And then here on the other side, it also has the what to do when your plants arrive instructions. Okay guys, so I took a quick read of what to do when the plants arrive, and it depends on which state that the plant is in. If it's a dormant state, meaning that there's not really any leaves growing, or if it's an actively growing state, whereas it says plants with leafy growth on stems or above the soil. And so depending on what it is, since it's June, I'm anticipating it's probably going to be an active growing, but we'll find out here very soon. Either way, it just, the state is going to determine what it is that we do. So we'll remove the environmentally friendly packing material to expose our actively growing plants. So per the instructions for these guys, what we're going to end up doing is taking it out of the box immediately, and then it says to leave them in or water them until water comes out of the holes in the bottom of the buckets that they're in, and then leave them in a protected space near the planting area for 3 to 5 days to allow the plant to acclimate to the new temperatures, to the new environment, the new barometric pressures, so on and so forth. Of course, you want to monitor it daily, making sure that the soil is still moist, adding water as appropriate. And then if the temperature is going to become extreme cold, meaning like drop below 32 degrees, then you would want to protect the plants or even bring them indoors, just because they're up in these tubs or these little buckets. They're going to be very much so exposed, and the cold will do much more damage to them. Likewise, if there's going to be extreme heat, then you would want to do the same thing to make sure that they don't get damaged by the extreme heat. This material out. Okay, so there's the plants, and that's Like I said, it's a blue star creeper, 1 quart. And then we'll end up planting this into our area after probably 3 to 5 days, as the instructions say, and we'll give it a nice good water till water comes out. I just set it out in the rain and let nature take care of it for me. Okay guys, now one of the other things that I forgot to mention earlier is what was one of the deciding factors of why we decided to go with this, is because this plant doesn't typically get more than about 3 inches tall off of the soil. And so there was some other moss, like some Irish moss or even Scottish moss, that we were considering to fill in the gaps between our steps. But the only problem that I have with that is that those will overhang and almost, like, I mean, they'll cover up the entire step if left, let go long enough. So you'd have to go in and trim the moss back to, you know, keep it from overtaking your steps. Whereas with this stuff, because it doesn't get very tall, it doesn't have the same kind of, you know, grow over the step aspect, and it's not going to be overwhelming. It's just going to fill in the gaps and creep wherever there's soil, and make it to where we shouldn't have to, you know, try to trim it back or mow it back. In fact, some people will actually use this and replace their entire lawn with it because they don't have to mow it, and it doesn't ever get much more than, like I said, about 3 inches tall. And then it's you know, year-round ground cover, keeps down the weeds, and then produces a beautiful flower. So as you can see here, we just noticed, my wife just noticed, there's actually already a flower on this plant, and that's the kind of flower that they produce. I'm going to try to gently,
It's broken off.
Looks like it's already broken off, probably in the shipping, but yeah. So nonetheless, you can see that it's a you know, a light, almost lavender colored, star-shaped flower, and these things will just get covered in these little flowers, and it's beautiful seeing the pictures of these things when they're fully grown in and established. So looking forward to having that totally done. It's been a few days now since our Isotoma has arrived, and we're going to go ahead and just transplant them in. We just spread them out kind of sporadically, no real rhyme or reason as to where we're putting it, and then based off of how fast it looks like it's spreading out, we'll determine on if we end up getting more plants just to kind of help speed the process up, or just let it take over and do its thing naturally. So all we're going to do is just dig a hole and get them transplanted. Seeing lots of worms in the soil, which is good. It's a good sign. We want worms. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Kind of spread this excess dirt around a little bit. 1 down, 9 to go. Alright guys, so there we go. We got all of our 10 Isotoma plants planted, aka Blue Star Creeper. And so now it's just going to be making sure that they get nice in a lot of water, just because it's really hot today. I think it's 6 o'clock, 6:30 maybe, and it's still like 90 degrees outside. It's a hot day. So we're going to make sure we get them nice and hydrated, and then we'll just keep an eye to see how fast they spread. And like I said, hopefully they spread pretty quickly. If not, then we may end up ordering more just to help expedite that process up. But there's that step, and hopefully that'll be, they'll grow quick. So we'll see you in the next update.